Welcome to Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. Now here's your host, Tim McMahon.
Don't make me destroy you.
Hey, it's Tim. So today's episode, it's not really a review episode. It's not one of my good reactions. Instead, it's a Kudos episode. It's an opportunity for me to say, job well done to some Star Wars creators, and to recommend a Star Wars project to you guys if it's not something you're already into. Okay, today I'm talking about the ongoing monthly Star Wars comic from Marvel Comics, specifically, issue 50. Now, I'm not going to spoil this story for you, but I am going to brush up pretty close to spoiler territory. But I promise to do my best not to cross any lines. Anyway, I just want to give you guys a heads up before I go any further. Alright, so if you didn't know already, the ongoing monthly Star Wars title takes place between Episode 4, A New Hope, and Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Now, a lot of great stories are told in this era, and why is that? Well, it's because it's the only part of the Star Wars timeline that allows you to use Luke, Leia, and Han all together in a story. Post-Empire, no Han. Post-Jedi, well, that playground is still under construction. And as a side note, if I can go off on a tangent here for a second, why is it that we as fans love to see these three characters together? I mean, when you think about it, the big three shared very little screen time together in the course of the original trilogy, maybe a third of each film at the most, that's about it. And actually, it feels like this in every Star Wars trilogy. Each trilogy gives us these big three characters, but then when you think about it, they actually spend very little screen time together as a group. I wonder why that is. What's that say about Star Wars? Anyway, let's get back to business. So, the ongoing Marvel Star Wars series. Overall, in my opinion, it started out very strong, stumbled a bit, but it's been getting better and better. And issue 50. Well, issue 50, wow. This issue knocked it out of the park for me. And why is that? Well, with stories set in this period, you have the problem of, well, you know the characters are going to be okay. You know the events of Empire Strikes Back haven't happened yet, and you know that film starts with everyone in a good spot, so yeah, no matter what the current story is telling you, you know it's going to turn out okay for the big three, nothing horrible is going to happen to them. But, when I put down issue 50, I have to admit, I was scared for our main characters, and I was especially frightened for the Rebel Alliance. Now, at this point in the ongoing storyline, the Rebels have finally reached the point where they have the strength and the resources to gather a legitimate fleet together. Not a hodgepodge of ships that need to scatter whenever the Imperials show up, like we see in Rebels, but instead, a force that is powerful enough to go toe-to-toe with the big boys when needed. Now, the Alliance is celebrating this moment, and they're not being too cocky about it, far from it actually. In fact, General Dodonna has some words that help put everything in perspective for Luke and Wedge. But still, they're feeling good. They're feeling upbeat. They're feeling positive. But then Darth Vader and his fleet show up. And to quote a certain Mon Cal admiral that we all love, it's a trap. And sure, the Empire has set many traps for the Rebels before. We've read about these stories in comics, novels, and other media for decades now. But, to me, there was something different about this trap. This trap felt darker. It felt inescapable. I put down this issue saying, whoa. I put down this issue feeling worried about our heroes, even though I know they'll be okay in the end. And I put down this issue feeling glad that I wasn't in their situation. And what is it about this twist, this dark reveal that really got to me? Well, it was Vader. Now, I think Darth Vader's been one of the standout characters in the Marvel Comics, in all the series. And this issue had Vader at a moment that just chilled me to my spine. See, it went a little something like this. The Imperial fleet shows up. The rebels are trapped. The officers ask Vader if they should attack. Vader says no. He senses their fear through the Force. It is insufficient. He wants to give them time to understand their plight. And once the Alliance figures out what's going on, what is happening to them, and what is about to happen to them, well, their fear grows and turns to dread, to terror. And only then does Vader find the situation satisfactory, and the attack begins. Wow. It was, you just have to read those pages. Now, I have to heap praise upon the writer of this issue, Kieran Gillen, and his editors. This issue was amazing. The best issue in this run in a long time. One of the best issues of all the Star Wars Marvel comics this year, if not ever. Now, there's a lot of other stuff going on in this issue, and if you want a full recap, a full review, then I'll just point you to the great review written by Mr. Dennis Keithley, a great friend of Less Than 12 Parsecs. You can find his reviews on retrozap.com, but I will provide links in the show notes and on 12parsekspodcast.com. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say about this issue. Kudos to Kieran Gillen and the team at Marvel for a job well done. So, are you currently reading the monthly Star Wars comic books? What do you think of them? What did you think about issue 50 of Star Wars? I want to know. Email me at 12parsekspodcast@gmail.com or connect with me on any of my social media accounts. All the links can be found on my website, 12parsekspodcast.com. Thanks for listening. Utini!
I have you now.
You've been listening to Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. For links and show notes, visit our website, 12parsekpodcast.com. Follow Less Than 12 Parsecs on Twitter at 12parpod, on Instagram at 12parsekspodcast, on Tumblr at 12parsekspodcast, and find us on Facebook as well. And please let us know what you think. Email us at 12parsekspodcast@gmail.com. All Star Wars sounds, music, images, logos, designs, characters, and elements are registered trademarks and copyright of Disney, Lucasfilm Limited, and their subsidiaries and respective rights holders, and used by Less Than 12 Parsecs Podcast under fair use doctrine. All original content is copyright Tim McMahon and Less Than 12 Parsecs Podcast, released under the No Derivative Works Creative Commons license.